Steve Denuser tells us in his interview, right? He gives us the exact timeline for when the Arbiter broke. And by the way, we will see that with the first cinematic that we get in the Shadowlands. As soon as we get to Erebos, we're going to see a cinematic of exactly how the Arbiter broke. In order for this to make sense, let's go back to this cinematic. Hold up. I kind of have to go through these cinematics again. Alright, so this is what Sylvanas does, yeah?
You know not what you're meddling with.
Submit. The Valkyr are mine.
Alright. The lantern. The lantern is what I want you to focus on. We know that Sylvanas and Helia had a deal with this lantern, yeah? But we don't know exactly what the deal is. Steve Denuser in his interview is asked, how did Ursoc end up in Arnewield? And Steve Denuser confirms that at the time of Ursoc's death in the Emerald Nightmare, the Arbiter still functioned. The Arbiter still worked, right? Okay, so that rules this out. Remember, for a long time, we thought this was the moment the Shadowlands broke. But as we know with the Jailer and also with Sylvanas, and now it seems with Helia as well, they play the long game. Like, they're almost always willing to take the long route in order to get where they need to be. There's something interesting that is also said in Orgrimmar. It is it Orgrimmar? No, I'm lying. It's in this interview, this short story. In the short story, they actually, one of the characters actually says, I can't remember which one it was, but I think they were talking to Bolvar, and they were saying how Sylvanas has been failing the whole time. And then the other character asks, yet she does not act as if she's been failing, which was very interesting to me. Everything we've been shown up until now suggests that Sylvanas keeps failing, right? Nothing that Sylvanas is planning seems to be working, and yet she doesn't seem to think so. Sylvanas seemingly acts as if everything is going in her favor. Everything is working out exactly the way that she wanted it to work out. And they do mention that in this short story. So in other words, is she playing a sort of game where we think we're winning and yet we're actually losing? Jamie, I wouldn't say that that's bad storytelling. We don't know what the end game, what the end result is going to be. So we would have to wait for the end result before we can actually know if that's a good or a bad thing, right? We don't know yet. But right, so we thought that this was when it was broken, but now we know that this isn't. So what exactly happened here? Now we know that Odin had to make a deal in order to see into the Shadowlands. We also have confirmation that Helheim is not in the Shadowlands, but it is connected to the Shadowlands. So in other words, at some point, Odin would have had to have some help in order to set up Helheim, right? Because Helheim effectively works in the same way as the Shadowlands does, even though it isn't in the Shadowlands. Steve Denuser confirms this as well in the interview. What exactly happened here? Let's cast your minds back. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of this, right? But cast your mind back to that moment you ran up the steps to Helia, and Helia was talking to Sylvanas. And Helia said to her, remember our deal, Banshee. I think that soul cage, that's what the lantern is called, by the way. The lantern is called a soul cage. We heard at BlizzCon last year, that would be BlizzCon 2019, we heard that the soul cage does more than what we think it does. The soul cage's main job is in fact not to hold a soul. I believe that the soul cage is what bound Helia to Helheim, and it was perfect. Think about it. Odin creates the very key that Helia requires in order to leave Helheim and he leaves that key inside Helheim, and that key is impossible for denizens of Helheim to wield. So denizens of Helheim cannot remove the key. It's like the ultimate torture device. The very thing that is keeping you here is right in front of you, but you can't fucking remove it. You can't get it out. And we know that that's what Odin, like, he is a dick, right? He would do that sort of thing. Because in my opinion, that's why he sent us into Helheim to kill Helia, was just to torture her, because he knows that she can't die. The whole point is that she would die and then she would just come fucking back, right? She would die and just come back in Helheim once again, because her soul is tethered to Helheim by this lantern. The ultimate torture device. What Odin could not plan for. Or maybe he did plan for it. If Apocalypse Leak is correct, Odin may have planned this. Odin knew, but Odin could not have known that there would ever be a mortal willing to do the bidding of Helia. How would Odin have known that? How could he ever have foreseen that there would be a mortal like Sylvanas willing to work with Helia? You see, the deal was simple. Use the soul cage to enslave Ayer. Once Ayer is enslaved inside the soul cage, set me free. Have any of you ever wondered about that raid? What was it called again? Trial of Valor? Was it called Trial of Valor? I think it was called Trial of Valor. Did any of you ever feel like the Trial of Valor was out of place? Like, it didn't make a lot of sense. As a raid, just why? Why was that raid there? I mean, you had the Emerald Nightmare, which kind of made sense. It was the whole story of Al-Sharad, kind of made sense. Then you had Nighthold, which again made sense as the overall expansion went along. All of it made a lot of sense. However, that Trial of Valor really didn't feel like it fit. It felt like it was almost just pushed in there. Well, if I'm correct, then it may have been the most quintessential raid of the entire expansion. Because that is the raid where Helia dies and is sent to the Arbiter. And you can think to yourself, just how corrupted and rotten do you think Helia's soul is? Her soul would be absolutely blemished, right? So if she were to appear in front of the Arbiter, there is every chance that she would infect the Arbiter with some sort of virus, so to speak, because that seems to be what is happening to the Arbiter right now. She does seem to be. Zach, how you doing, bro? Really fucked her over. Bliss, but remember, after Odin fucked her over, she has spent all of her life inside Helheim. All of that time would have ripped her soul apart. It would have changed her soul entirely. So, no, even if Odin fucked her over, or as Odin fucked her over, it would have been the amount of time that she had to spend in the underworld. So close. Because remember, Helheim isn't part of the Shadowlands, but it is connected to the Shadowlands. If you're that close to the jailer, that close to the realm of the jailer, there is every chance that you are going to be influenced by that guy, right? So in my opinion, Odin launching an attack on the Shadowlands in 9.2 makes perfect sense. All of this will be confirmed tomorrow night, by the way. If my speculation theory is correct, and it is the death of Helia that killed the Arbiter, or at least brought her offline, then I'm telling you that's what happened. That is what that fucking lantern is all about. Still think that Helia might have told God influence. It's possible, but I don't think so. Maybe she's the first soul to go directly to the Maw. Okami, she would have gone... Well, I'm not sure if she would have gone directly to the Maw, but she would have had at least to pass through Oribos. Even if you go directly to the Maw, the only thing is you don't stop at the Arbiter, right? You go straight through Oribos and into the Maw. That's why the angry emotions from Sylvanas after the lantern broke. Actually, you and I have a different opinion on that. Actually. Volchik, I mean, first of all, I can't explain it using your analogy that she was angry afterwards just because she didn't get to enslave Ayer. The job was still done, right? But remember, what she wanted to do was this, she wanted to enslave Ayer to give her an unlimited amount of Valkyr. And she didn't get to do that. So basically, she did fulfill the deal with Helia, but she didn't get her fucking part of it, right? What she wanted ultimately didn't happen. But I don't know if I would call her angry at the end of this. Let's watch this.
Sylvanas, your quest for immortality has left you vulnerable. I will have my vengeance for Varian, for Gilneas, for my son!
It seems I overestimated you. Old wolf.
To be fair, okay, so her face there, I'm assuming you meant this face, right? I'm assuming you meant this moment, yeah? I mean, obviously she wants to stop him from taking the fucking lantern because then she loses Ayer, yeah? But then if you continue, her eyes change, her face changes. It's almost as if magnificent. I don't know. Watch this and tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but it feels like she looks at Ayer and she spots a moment of magnificence within this. In awe is a good fucking word. Yes, dangerous. Thank you so much. In awe. She seems to be in awe of what is happening there.
You took my son's future. And now I've taken yours.
It's frustration, but it's not anger. I mean, if she truly was angry, would she not have gone after him? Also, another thing that needs to be maybe highlighted here, something that must be highlighted here, Sylvanas, her power only really started after this moment. Her power only really started after this moment. I won't say mad. I won't say angry. That's not the idea I've got from that entire exchange. Because again, if angry, why do you let the old wolf leave? I mean, surely she could have killed him. He was already wounded. If she was truly angry, she would just destroy him. She would just kill him and it would be the end of it. So yeah, I genuinely don't know if she was angry there. She may have been, right? But this is just my speculation. So you guys can take that, right? Keep it in your fucking pocket until tomorrow night. And if tomorrow night we see that fucking cinematic and it is Trial of Valor that fucking kills the Arbiter, I'm right. Yeah? And then I expect you fuckers to apologize. If it isn't, then I'll apologize. How about that? Yeah? How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Compared to what was on her mind. I mean, I'm more than happy to admit when I'm wrong, right? I don't really give a fuck. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't do this to be right. I just do this because it's fun.